I married a wealthy older woman for her money. Before I could even enjoy it, I died on our wedding day. When I woke up again, I'd actually transmigrated to when she was 20 years old. At this time, she was still a down-and-out young woman. Faced with this diamond in the rough, I sidled up, wanting to make a good impression. Unexpectedly, she pinned me against the wall. "Give me $10, and I'll let you go home." I was being shaken down. Right then, I was pressed against a crumbling wall by a slip of a girl. Her face was less than a fist's distance away. Thick lashes, a straight nose. Pretty, no doubt. But why did she look so familiar? She was like a miniature version of my old moneybags, Willow Ashton. "Give me $10, and I'll let you go home." Her clear, cool voice confirmed my suspicions. I blinked hard at her and blurted out, "Wifey?" She froze, her brow furrowing. "I don't want you, just your money." "That's not what I meant." Looking around, I saw low-slung, run-down bungalows, clearly a world away from the era I knew. Had I transmigrated? I stared at the young woman before me. I'd even transmigrated to when my wife was young. Good heavens, what kind of stroke of luck was this? I'd been so unlucky in my past life. I finally managed to marry a rich older woman, but before I could enjoy the wealth and luxury, I dropped dead on our wedding day. Now it seemed fate wasn't so bad to me after all. Not only did it give me a second chance at life, but it also delivered this future beauty and heiress, a real catch in the making, right to my doorstep. Such a solid meal ticket. The sooner I latched on, the sooner I'd be set. Suppressing my glee, I said, "Oh," and started fumbling in my pockets. In the era I came from, nobody carried cash anymore. All I could find were a few coins. I pulled out the coins and placed them in her palm. "This is all I've got. Why don't you take it for now?" My little money bags finally let me go. She counted the few coins, a look of awkwardness on her face. "Give me your contact info. I'll pay you back when I make some money. Just take it and use it." I waved my hand, grinning. "We're practically family, no need to be so formal." The moment I said that, the way Willow Ashton looked at me grew even stranger. She stared at me for a long moment. Then, with a cold expression, handed the money back. "I don't want it." What did that mean? Was it too little? Seeing her actually turn to leave, her long legs carrying her away, I got a bit anxious. "I have some gold jewelry. How about I sell it for cash for you right now?" After I said that, Willow walked away even faster, as if I were some kind of psycho. Watching her receding figure, I felt a little annoyed. She was supposed to be a punk, so why did she just up and leave? Didn't she have any professional dignity? It wasn't until Willow was gone that I belatedly realized a problem. I had been reborn, body and all. That meant I was undocumented. Where was I going to live? 2. Back in the 90s, there weren't any 24-hour convenience stores on the streets. With little cash on me, I wandered around and only found a bathhouse to rest in. The steam was thick. After a shower, I drowsily fell asleep. I even dreamed about my wedding night with my little money bags. In the dream, she was as gentle as I remembered her, kissing my forehead, the tip of my nose, and then I puckered my lips slightly, about to meet hers, when suddenly a voice said, "Get up." I opened my eyes and met a pair of eyes strikingly similar to the ones in my dream. Instinctively, I reached out, wrapped my arms around her neck, and planted a peck on her lips. "Honey, let's sleep a little longer." The words barely out of my mouth, I was thrown to the floor. Holy crap, that hurt. Sleepiness vanished instantly, and I winced in pain. Willow Ashton's face was stern. "We're closing. Go home." With that, she turned and left the rest area, looking a bit like she was fleeing. I narrowed my eyes. I distinctly saw the tips of her ears turn slightly red. My mind finally cleared. I was dead. This wasn't my wife, but a young Willow Ashton. Sighing, I could only lament that it was a long road ahead. After changing into my clothes, I slowly walked out. A middle-aged woman stood at the counter. Her hair was full of pink curlers, and an unlit cigarette dangled from her lips, reminding me of the landlady. $2. I looked down and placed my last few coins on the counter, then turned to search for Willow. My mind was a mess. I had no idea what Willow's connection was to this bathhouse. I didn't see Willow, but suddenly, the landlady raised her voice. Such a young kid, already up to no good, trying to cheat yours truly? Huh? I was startled. I saw her pointing at the coins I'd given her. If you're going to use counterfeit money, at least use something believable. What year do you think it is, giving me a coin minted in 2000? I took it and looked, panicking immediately. I hadn't even considered that coins had minting dates on them. No, please let me explain. Explain what? Do you have the money or not? If not, you can explain it to the cops. With that, she grabbed me by the scruff of my neck and started dragging me out. I stumbled as she pulled me. If I got taken to the police station, I'd never be able to explain myself. Just then, Willow finished cleaning the bathroom. I immediately cried out, "Willow, help me!" The boss lady, Rosie Miller, was the first to react. "You two know each other?" I nodded frantically, looking at Willow with pleading eyes. Then I heard her say, expressionlessly, 3 words, "Don't know him." This girl, she had none of the magnanimity she'd have when she was older. Boss Lady Rosie's curses grew louder. I clung to the door frame, refusing to go out. At the standoff, Willow pulled $2 in coins from her pocket. "I'll pay for him." Hearing this, the hand gripping my arm suddenly loosened. Caught off guard, I tumbled to the ground. The middle-aged woman's expression changed in an instant, her smile returning. "As long as it's paid, you can go." Willow silently slung her bag over her shoulder, also intending to leave. The landlady called out from behind, "Let's get this straight. You're here working in your mom's place. She took 2 days off sick. Even though you're back today, I'm already being generous by not docking her pay. There's no money for you." Willow didn't look back. It was unclear if she hadn't heard or simply didn't want to acknowledge her. Afraid of losing her again, I scrambled up from the floor, clutching my backside, and hurried out. "Willow," I called. She turned back, her cool eyes devoid of warmth. "Don't follow me." I grinned. "I have to pay you back the money I owe you." I thought she'd say there was no need. Instead, she stopped and said sarcastically, "Paying for a bath with counterfeit money. What, you suddenly rich now, counterfeit kid?" "No, but I can pay you back in other ways." Willow pointed to my watch. "Sure. Pay me back with this." This watch was a wedding gift from her. She was always generous. She might not understand its value now, but it was worth a house. Thinking about this, I stared blankly for a moment. Willow misunderstood, sneered, and turned her head. Gritting my teeth, I took off the watch. "Here." This time, it was Willow's turn to be stunned. I blinked, my face beaming. "You kissed me in the bathhouse today, so you have to take responsibility for me. How about this watch, as my betrothal gift to you?" At the mention of this, Willow's face tensed. "It was clearly you who. I kissed you first, so I should take responsibility for you?" I thought for a moment. "Then consider this my dowry to you. Take me home." Willow was speechless. 3. Slow down a bit. The night was still as water, our 2 figures the only ones on the narrow street. Willow had long strides, and I had to jog to keep up. If you can't keep up, then get lost. I realized young Willow had a really fiery temper. When I was with the older her, she never even spoke harshly to me, let alone snapped. Now look at this. I gritted my teeth and shook my fist at her retreating back. Just wait until I make my comeback. Maxing out her credit cards wouldn't be enough to vent my frustration. Seeing I'd gone quiet, Willow looked back. The moonlight outlined her profile, creating a beautiful silhouette. I quickly bared my teeth in a wide grin. She pressed her lips together, turned her head, and muttered, "Shorty. What, couldn't get rid of me, so you resort to personal attacks?" Although she said that, I noticed Willow did slow her pace. We walked much further, and just when my calves were screaming in pain, Willow finally stopped. It was a tenement building. Looking at its exterior, it was a scientific miracle it hadn't collapsed yet, being so dilapidated. Only for one night, Willow looked at me. I didn't dare defy her and quickly nodded. She took out her key and lowered her voice. "Wait here at the door. I'll come out and get you in a bit." This furtiveness reminded me of trying to sneak takeout past my parents at night. "Why are you back so late today?" From the voice, I guessed it was my never-before-met mother-in-law, Martha Ashton. It was said that her mother passed away when Willow was 20. Calculating the time, it should be this year. I quietly pushed the door open a crack and peeked inside. The interior had that trendy industrial chic look, raw, unfinished concrete. The place was tiny, seemingly just one room. In what could barely be called a living room, there was a camp bed. That was where Willow slept. Martha Ashton's face was pale, her figure gaunt. She coughed twice before saying, "I paid the landlord today. You don't have to worry about the rent anymore." Willow froze. "Where did you get the money?" Then, as if remembering something, she added, "And the medicine I asked you to buy? Don't you worry about that," Willow scoffed. "It was my money I gave you, and you're telling me not to worry about it?" Mrs. Ashton pressed her lips together. "I know my own body. Treatment is useless. I won't get better. Mom doesn't want to be a burden to you. The sooner I die, the sooner you'll have peace of mind." Those words were like touching Willow's raw nerve. If you really didn't want to be a burden, you shouldn't have given birth to me in the first place. Now you're spouting this damn nonsense. If you've got the guts, then go die outside and don't let me know. Don't ever let me see you again. The atmosphere instantly tensed. I was standing at the door, eavesdropping, when I couldn't help but let out a hiccup. From hunger, I quickly covered my mouth, but it was too late. The two people inside both looked towards me through the crack in the door, especially Willow. Her gaze looked like she wanted to skin me alive. I was being wronged here. It had been 12 hours since I transmigrated, and I hadn't had a sip of water. Even a saint couldn't take it. So, I was forced to reveal myself. I lied, claiming to be Willow's friend whose parents had passed away, and I'd come from out of town to stay with relatives. When I got back, I found out my relatives had all moved away. Luckily, I ran into Willow. I looked pitifully at Willow. She kindly brought me back to stay for a few nights. "Auntie Martha, I hope you don't mind." Hearing this, Mrs. Ashton's face immediately showed sympathy. "You stay here as long as you like. Don't mind that it's run down. Stay as long as you need." This whole act made Willow glance at me several times. She mouthed 3 words at me. "Little fibber." Hey. This little fibber not only secured a place to stay but was also about to use the watch future Willow bought me to pay for current Willow's mom's medical treatment. I glared at Willow. I increasingly felt like I'd really invested heavily in this trip. For Willow's place was truly Spartan. So Spartan, there was only one camp bed. "You sleep here tonight," she said, kicking the bed towards me a bit. I looked around. "Then where will you sleep?" Willow spread a few newspapers on the floor, her actions answering my question. How could she sleep like that? Seeing my disapproving face, Willow raised an eyebrow. "Want to switch?" I quickly put on a goofy grin. No, you go ahead, you'll be fine." It was too hot. I tossed and turned on the camp bed for a long time before falling asleep. Not long after, I was woken up by mosquito bites. Scratching my neck, I groggily opened my eyes and saw Willow sitting cross-legged on the floor, a small desk lamp beside her, engrossed in something. "Not asleep yet?" I sat up. Willow shifted, and I saw several pagers and a dozen or so pocket electronic pets spread out on the floor. In this era, these things were high-end. I used to play with them as a kid. How do you have these? My interest piqued. I was about to reach for one when Willow slapped my hand away. Not fixed yet. Don't touch. You know how to fix these? I found it amazing. Someone who lived in such poverty, who had probably never even used these things, actually knew how to repair them. Then it hit me. Willow had made her first fortune in the electronics industry. So, talent really is a mysterious thing. Gifted with electronics, even mired in mud, it can make someone shine brightly. How much do you earn fixing these for people? I hear there are more opportunities down south, in places like Shenzhen. Why don't you consider moving there to develop your career? She didn't even look up. Not going. I wanted to persuade her further, but Willow reached out, pressed her hand against my forehead, and pushed me back onto the bed. Why all the chatter? Get to sleep. I pouted, pointing to the mosquito bites on my body. Look, I'm being eaten alive by mosquitoes. I can't sleep at all. Fussy britches. Willow frowned, got up, rummaged in a cabinet, and handed me a palm leaf fan. What for? Fan yourself. I was dumbfounded. Couldn't you at least give me some cooling balm or something? Don't have that stuff. Costs money. Forget it, cheapskate. I fanned myself, but it only made me hotter. I rejected the fan, turned my back to her, butt facing out, and covered myself tightly with the blanket. I'd rather die of heat stroke than be eaten by mosquitoes again. As I slept, someone unknown pulled the blanket off me. I felt a cool breeze, as if someone was fanning me. It was very comfortable. I didn't wake up again until dawn. The next day, when I opened my eyes, Willow was already up and changing clothes. I didn't know if she had just woken up or hadn't slept all night. I couldn't help but marvel. Long legs, perky butt, and she was my future wife. Just as I was admiring, Willow suddenly turned her head, and our eyes met. Crap, careless, I quickly shut my eyes. Willow sneered. Stop pretending. I kept my eyes tightly shut, ignoring her. Willow kicked the camp bed. If you're awake, then leave. This time I couldn't pretend anymore. Go where? You could only stay one night. I was stunned. But Auntie Martha promised me last night I could stay as long as I wanted. I'm the one renting this place. Meaning, if she didn't agree, nobody else's word mattered. How could she be like this? I thought our relationship had made a qualitative leap after last night. I wanted to argue a bit more, but a loud noise came from the inner room. Willow's expression changed drastically. She rushed in, and when she came out, she was carrying Martha Ashton in her arms. My mom fainted. 5 cancer. Fortunately, it was early stage, still treatable, but Willow couldn't afford the treatment costs. Coming out of the hospital room, I saw Willow sitting in the hallway, smoking. Since when do you smoke? I remembered the older her never smoked. Willow glanced at me but didn't reply. I have rhinitis. I'm allergic to tobacco smoke, I muttered. As soon as I said it, the smoke made my eyes water and I started coughing several times. Fussy britches. But she did stub out the cigarette. Martha Ashton's treatment needed money, and clearly, Willow couldn't come up with it. I mentally inventoried my assets. Besides this watch, I also have a gold ring. If I sell them all, it should cover the treatment costs for now. We can figure out the rest later. I don't need your money. I was surprised. Then why did you shake me down yesterday? Willow choked, unusually speechless. Her ears turned so red they looked like they might bleed. That was an accident, she finally managed. And I wasn't extorting you, I was borrowing. All right, then consider it a loan from me to you. Willow pressed her lips together. That's different. How was it different? I was about to ask, but before I could speak, a voice came from the end of the hospital corridor. Little sis, Heard our mom's in the hospital, huh? I looked up and saw a portly man with a large head and big ears, a bulky cell phone tucked under his arm, his hair greasier than peanut oil. A few goons followed him, all of them an ugly bunch, as if to make sure everyone knew they were lowlifes. Willow stood up, subtly shielding me behind her. She nodded at the newcomer. Boss Ivan. The man called Boss Ivan took an envelope out of his bag and placed it on the chair in front of Willow. A little something. Willow didn't move. That thing I talked to you about before, come find me when you've thought it over. After all, your mom's treatment needs money, right? He turned to leave, then turned back and pointed at me. Got a boyfriend? He's quite a looker. A real pretty boy. Willow's expression tensed slightly. I could see her fists clench. Boss Ivan patted Willow's shoulder. Don't be nervous. No other meaning. Just take care of yourself. He glanced at me again, waved his hand, and left, surrounded by his cronies. After they left, I asked, "What do they want you to do?" "None of your business." "I'm your future husband. How is it none of my business?" After I said that, the way Willow looked at me clearly changed. I then realized I'd misspoken. My voice suddenly became softer. "I mean, you kissed me. That man is Ivan Lynch. He owns all the karaoke bars in this area." I didn't expect Willow to tell me voluntarily, so I immediately shut up and listened. "They got a batch of electronic products from Guangdong game consoles, cell phones, that sort of thing. They plan to bring them over, slap on new labels, and sell them. They want me to get involved." The electronics industry was just taking off in the country back then. Selling prices were very high. But wasn't this a good thing? Willow looked at me. Counterfeits. An illegal business. I suddenly remembered things from before. When I met the older Willow, she was already established in the industry. She rarely spoke about her past. The only thing I knew came from some magazine reports I'd read. She started her business at 28, slowly gained a foothold in Guangzhou, and later carved out a successful career. But now, she was only 20. There was an 8-year gap, precisely during the golden age of the domestic electronics industry. What was she doing? Suddenly, I recalled a biography. She had been to prison. I abruptly stood up and looked at Willow. "Are you planning to work with that boss Ivan?" Willow pressed her lips. After a long pause, she replied, "I have to save my mom." 6. I finally understood why the older Willow had been so reticent about her past. Back then, to save Martha Ashton, she had gone astray with boss Ivan. Martha Ashton had the surgery, but upon learning her daughter was involved in illegal activities, her condition worsened, and she still passed away. My heart ached. The older Willow had never mentioned a word of this to me. Even though we were married, she had always treated me like a kid, keeping me by her side, content as long as I was happy. I never thought to ask about these things. After all, I married her for her money. Back then, Willow had also saved my mother's life. I had knelt outside the operating room, begging the doctors to save my mom. In the end, it was Willow who helped me. "Willow, do you trust me?" I clutched the watch in my hand. "This time I want to help you. I sold everything I was wearing. All of it went to pay for Martha Ashton's initial treatment. You don't have to go this far. If you really feel bad, just buy me double in the future." I grinned, thinking that this was originally mine anyway. I was just sort of returning it. Besides, this investment was a sure win. With this life-saving money, Martha Ashton's condition gradually stabilized. But it was clear her illness wouldn't be cured with just this one treatment. "Young man, you're a good person. Don't spend any more money on me." Martha Ashton lay in her hospital bed, holding my hand. Willow has never had a good day with me. Her father left right after she was born. I'm not healthy, and I don't have any skills. Thank goodness this child is so determined. She sighed. I don't have any other wishes, really. I just hope that after I'm gone, she can live a good life without any burdens. Live for herself. Looking at Martha Ashton's pale face, I seemed to see my own mother, lying in a hospital bed in my past life. "You're not a burden." I squeezed Martha's hand and said, word by word, "You are her support, her faith, her direction forward. Even if it's just for her, you have to live well. Live with all your might." I didn't leave the room until Martha Ashton fell asleep. As soon as I stepped out, I saw Willow standing outside. I didn't know how long she'd been there. I was startled. "Why didn't you go in?" Willow's eyes were a little red. She looked at me and asked, "Why?" I froze, then realized she was asking why I had helped them so unreservedly. "Because I like you, of course. I was afraid if your mom really had no one to save her, you'd encounter some other helpless young girl in the future. Your sympathy would overflow. You'd lend a hand, and then you'd end up making her your wife." I widened my eyes. When you get rich and become an older woman, and you meet an adorable guy like me, you're not allowed to abandon your devoted husband from your poorer days, you hear? My taste isn't that bad," I harumphed. "That's more like it." Then, after a 2-second pause, "Wait a minute. Who are you insulting?" Willow smiled. It was the first time I'd seen her smile since I transmigrated. She reached out, smoothed my messy hair, and said, "Got it. 7. With Martha Ashton in the hospital, it was just me and Willow left at home at night. Willow told me to sleep in Martha's small room, but I refused. "I can't sleep alone." "Is that so?" Willow glanced at me coolly. "You seemed to sleep soundly enough at the bathhouse. Everyone had left, and you still couldn't be woken up." I'd forgotten about that. I gave a dry laugh. "You're truly something else, a terrifying human with a computer-like memory." In the end, I still trudged into the small room, mainly because I didn't want Willow to sleep on the floor anymore. Once inside, I noticed the air was filled with the scent of cooling balm. Someone must have sprayed mosquito repellent for me earlier. I flopped onto the bed, burying my face in the covers. This woman. Willow didn't say much, but she took on a lot of odd jobs. She still had to go to the bathhouse at night to help clean. I remembered what the landlady, Rosie Miller, had said that day and asked, "Are you cleaning at the bathhouse for free now?" "No." Willow stood beside me. "My mom missed a few shifts before. Last time was to make up for her. Now when I go, it's for regular pay. The pay isn't much, why not quit?" Willow glanced at me but didn't answer. I understood immediately. In Willow's current situation, something was better than nothing. But I still felt this wasn't the way to earn money. Willow's brilliant mind being used for cleaning a bathhouse was a terrible waste of talent. "Let me go today." Willow looked at me. I patted my chest. "Yours truly, Handyman Whiz." When I arrived, only Rosie Miller was in the shop. Her head was full of pink curlers, making me a bit curious about what she looked like without them. "Isn't this that counterfeit kid from the other day? Here for a bath?" As soon as I entered, Boss Lady Rosie grinned and called out to me. Her enthusiasm was a stark contrast to the day she was dragging me out by the collar. "No, I'm here to talk business with you. In the 90s, bathhouses offered little more than bathing and scrubbing services. They didn't make much money. However, by slightly expanding the services, they could quickly pull ahead of the competition. For example, offering spa treatments was a good option. The core of it was just adding essential oils to the scrubbing service. Clearly, this Rosie Miller wasn't very imaginative. "Expand services. Your job here is to mop the floor clean. I don't need you to do anything else. If I can bring you more customers, would you let me offer it here?" "Why should I?" I gritted my teeth. "For this month, I'll clean the bathhouse for you for free. If anyone comes for the service, I can give you a 10 commission." Clearly, Rosie wasn't interested in the commission. Her eyes lit up. "You said you'll clean for me for free this whole month?" "Yes. Deal." Rosie's eyes darted around. "But let's be clear. If you don't clean properly, I'll dock your pay." The scrubbing aunties were much easier to persuade than Rosie. When they heard I'd give them an extra $1 for just 10 more minutes of work per person, they immediately agreed to try. I spent some time teaching them all I knew about spa treatments from that era. I also used the money left over from selling my jewelry to buy a few bottles of essential oils from the county town. The oils weren't expensive. This business mainly relied on good sales talk. For older customers, I'd say the oil could tighten skin. For younger ones, that it could whiten and brighten. And if all else failed, there was always the basic moisturizing and hydrating effect. It turned out that the love of beauty transcends eras. Once the essential oil spa service was launched, many locals came to try it. Mainly because my prices weren't steep, 50 cents for 10 minutes. If they wanted more, they'd have to add time and pay more. After a week, it was genuinely doing well. Even Rosie Miller came in to ask, "You have an oil here that tightens skin? Bring it over and let me try it." Thanks to our essential oil service, Rosie's bathhouse became a hot spot, beloved by the middle-aged women in the neighborhood. And I, true to my promise, gave Rosie her commission. With more customers and extra money coming in, Rosie smiled so much her eyes disappeared. She didn't make me mop the floors anymore either. "Why don't you continue with that? What's it called? Expanding the services here." Having earned some money, my mood improved. When Willow came to pick me up at night, I was grinning from ear to ear. Willow must have thought I'd caught some serious illness. She looked me over several times and finally couldn't help asking, "You love mopping floors that much?" "Actually, I lied to you about something." Willow raised an eyebrow. "I'm working over there, but Boss Lady Rosie isn't paying me." Hearing this, Willow's face instantly darkened. "Did she bully you?" No. I quickly stopped Willow and pulled out a wad of small bills, waving them in front of her. "Look at this." Willow looked a little surprised. "Boss Willow, I can support you now too." Willow finally understood what I'd been up to all this time. With some resignation, she said, "That's good. I can finally relax and be a kept woman from now on." Willow being a kept woman was clearly impossible. Not to brag, but without the worries at home, Willow's life progress sped up significantly. I didn't know what jobs Willow had taken on recently, but soon a company from Shenzhen contacted her, hoping she would go work there. "This is great news, go, go, go." I was even more excited than she was. As long as Willow went, I could quickly follow her to the pinnacle of life. Seeing my reaction, Willow's face fell. I refused. "Why?" Willow said coolly. "Don't want to." "Just like that?" I stared at Willow, seeing no hint of joking in her expression, and got anxious. Development there is at least 10 years ahead of the North. You'll definitely have a great future if you go. If she didn't go, whose coattails would I ride in the future? But Willow didn't listen at all. She just got up and left. I planned to try and persuade her again with reason and emotion, but unexpectedly, Willow started giving me the cold shoulder first. My future was at stake. I didn't want to compromise either. So, we remained at a stalemate. Even Martha Ashton noticed the strange atmosphere between us and secretly asked me what was wrong. Annoyed, I deliberately said very loudly in front of Willow, "Nothing. Willow's just on her period." But Willow didn't react at all. That evening, when Willow was walking me to work at the bathhouse, I was still angry and didn't want her to follow, so I walked very fast. Just as we were about to arrive, Willow suddenly grabbed me. "Do you want me to leave that badly?" Her voice was hoarse, with a hint of almost imperceptible hurt. "Do you know how far Shenzhen is from here?" Her question stunned me. Only then did I understand Willow's concerns. I mumbled, But transportation is so convenient now." I stopped mid-sentence. "No, transportation back then wasn't convenient at all. A trip to Shenzhen on a green-skin train would take 2 days and 2 nights. The Willow of the past, orphaned and alone, had headed south with just a backpack. But now, Martha Ashton was here, and I was here, so she hesitated. When I first arrived, my goal was very clear. I just wanted to cling to Willow's coattails and get rich quickly. But now, the opportunity was right in front of me. Success just a step away. I found myself switching sides at the last minute. I seemed to be a little reluctant to let Willow go. Sitting in the bathhouse, I sighed constantly. Even Rosie Miller couldn't stand it anymore. "You're so young. What are you sighing about all the time, kid?" "Sis Rosie, let me ask you. Money or women, which would you choose?" "Money." Rosie didn't hesitate at all. "With money, you can have women." When I heard that, I was amazed. I hadn't realized Rosie's thinking was so progressive. My spirits instantly lifted, and I asked again, "Material things or love, what do you choose?" She said impatiently, "Stop asking. Whatever you ask, I choose money. Family, friendship, love, none of them are as important as money. Sis Rosie, you truly are a sister of the new age." I gave her a thumbs up. Your little bro has seen the light. Rosie was right. If you have money, would you still worry about not having love? Besides, once Willow settled down in Shenzhen, she could just bring us over. Then we could say goodbye to the raw concrete industrial chic and move straight into a mansion. However, I didn't get a chance to tell Willow about this. An unwelcome guest arrived at the bathhouse. I'd seen him before Ivan Lynch. Rosie Miller clearly knew Ivan Lynch by reputation. As soon as he arrived, she went to greet him. "Boss Ivan, you're here, come for a scrub? Heard your shop's been doing pretty well lately, even started some essential oil service. Made a lot of money, huh?" Hearing this, the smile on Rosie's face faded a bit. "What are you talking about? We're just a small business. Can't really talk about services. Whether it's a service or not, it's not up to me to say." He waved his hand. "I brought a few of my boys over to try it out. We only serve female customers here." Before she could finish, Ivan Lynch glared, the flesh on his face twitching. Rosie immediately fell silent. "All right, I'll go get someone," she said, about to lift the curtain to go inside and find the scrubbing aunties. "Don't bother," Ivan Lynch pointed at me. "Just have this kiddo serve me personally." He looked at me with a smirk. "We know each other, right?" Rosie's smile froze. My face darkened instantly. The goons he brought surrounded me, ready to pin me down if I didn't comply. I finally understood. Ivan Lynch was doing this on purpose. He was targeting me. 9. Everyone knew the service Ivan Lynch was talking about had nothing to do with essential oils. Rosie Miller tried to speak up for me but was dragged aside by Ivan Lynch's men. I stood behind the counter. "Our shop doesn't offer that kind of service, and I can't provide it. If you come any closer, I'll call the police." But Ivan Lynch reacted as if he'd heard something hilarious. He looked back at his goons, revealing a row of yellowed teeth. "Kiddo, Big Bro is here today mainly because your woman refused my toast, turned me down. You think a big shot like me wouldn't lose face, right? And if I lose face, don't I need to get some back?" Ivan Lynch deliberately lowered his voice, but his words were just as sickening. "But don't worry, I'm not picky about men or women. You've got smooth skin, pretty boy. Stick with me, and you'll live the high life. Ugly mug, pretty dreams." As soon as I said it, Ivan Lynch reached out and dragged me over. I cursed and struggled desperately, but his grip was too strong. I couldn't break free. "It's over. It's over. This transmigration is such a bust." How did I end up worse off than in my previous life? Just as despair settled in, Rosie Miller suddenly broke free from the goon's hold, grabbed a heavy little golden pig figurine from the counter, and smashed it down on Ivan Lynch. "Son of a bitch, go to hell!" Ivan Lynch was instantly bleeding from his head. Seeing this, his goons swarmed forward. I was scared stiff. When I looked up, I saw a man grabbing Rosie by the hair and smashing her head against the wall. "Sis Rosie," I roared, lunging towards her. But I couldn't even protect myself. Hard fists rained down on me like hailstones. Rosie was the main culprit and was beaten more severely than I was. Her body was already a bloody mess. but she kept cursing. "Scumbags, all of you motherfucking bastards. This old gal will fight to the death before I let you bully these youngsters." My vision blurred with tears. Just moments ago, Rosie had said money was more important than anything. Now, she was standing up to protect me. I don't know how long it lasted. Maybe not long. Just as my consciousness was fading, Willow, who had come to pick me up from work, arrived. In a daze, I could only see her rushing over, roaring, a shovel in her hand. I wanted to shout, but no sound came out. Finally, even the images disappeared. I lost consciousness. 10. I seemed to have a very long dream. In it, I was back in my own time, and I saw my wife. She was sitting alone in a spacious office. Sunlight streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows, and in the distance was a golf course. When we were dating, she had personally taught me how to play golf there. A boring sport. She was looking at some documents, and on her desk was a photo of us together. She had aged well. You couldn't tell from the photo that there was a nearly 20-year age gap between us. "Who is this?" The office door opened, and I heard someone ask. She smiled and replied, "My husband." After they finished discussing work and the person left, I saw her pick up the photo from the desk again and sigh. She didn't say a word, but that look in her eyes made mine turn red. "Jojin? Jojin?" The image began to tear, and I heard someone calling my name. I struggled to open my eyes, and a familiar face came into view. "Mom?" No. My consciousness returned, and I realized I had died in that life. Now, I had transmigrated. I corrected myself. "Auntie Martha. Lie still. Don't move." Martha Ashton wiped tears from the corner of her eyes. "You're awake. That's wonderful. You're awake. Where's Willow?" Hearing this, Martha Ashton fell silent. My heart sank. "Where's Willow?" "She's been locked up." That day Ivan Lynch brought his men to the bathhouse. It was Willow who saved me and Rosie. Seeing me covered in blood, she went berserk. She grabbed a shovel and started hitting people with it. No one died. But it wasn't far from it. Ivan Lynch was permanently disabled. Willow was still sentenced. I had saved Martha Ashton's life, but I still couldn't prevent Willow's fate of going to prison. Fortunately, Willow was convicted of assault, causing bodily harm through negligence, and her sentence wasn't too severe. On the day of her release, I went with Martha Ashton to pick her up. I hadn't seen her for a few months. She had lost a lot of weight. I couldn't hold back. Like a little firecracker, I rushed over, hugged her, and started crying. Willow touched my face. Still okay, not disfigured. What kind of nonsense was that I was crying and laughing at the same time? Willow held my hand. "Let's go. Let's go home." Willow decided to go to Shenzhen. The company that had contacted her before sent another invitation, doubling the salary. Perhaps the incident with Ivan Lynch had affected Willow somewhat, making her feel that without money, one could only be bullied. Or perhaps there were other reasons. Anyway, this time she agreed. But unlike before, she planned to bring the whole family, meaning me along. "It might be very tough for you over there." Willow gave me a heads up. The conditions there might be even worse than here, possibly even more terrible than now. "I know. I've never been to Shenzhen either. What if you end up? Are you done yet?" I threw my luggage on the ground. "Willow, do you just not want to take me?" Willow softened. "I'm just afraid you'll be aggrieved. I'm not stupid. I won't let myself be wronged." After I said that, Willow looked at me for a long time before finally saying, "You're not stupid. You're the biggest fool in the world, but in a good way." When Willow and I were leaving, Rosie Miller came too. Her injuries had been more severe than mine. She had been bedridden for 3 full months before recovering. "Don't you worry. I'll take care of the old lady here." I was touched, but then I heard Rosie continue, "Just remember to send me money on time." Sigh, as expected. You old softy. I grinned and waved vigorously at Rosie. Sis Rosie, I'll miss you. You have to remember to miss me too. Get lost, I won't miss you at all. I wish you'd leave sooner. Then all the money from the essential oil service would go straight into my pocket. Hurry up and get your tickets checked. Nobody's thinking about you. Rosie pushed Willow and me towards the ticket gate. Before going in, I looked back and saw Rosie wiping away her own tears. Rosie was the real big fibber. The green skin train slowly moved forward. An unknown journey awaited us. But Willow's hand and mine were clasped tightly together. I knew that on this journey south, we would both have a bright future. Actually, there's a question I've always wanted to ask you. I looked up at Willow. Why were you willing to help me at the very beginning, and even agree to take me home? Willow was very good to me. So good that I didn't even know when she started liking me. Surely it wasn't when she was shaking me down that day, captivated by my stunning beauty. You might not believe this, but ever since I can remember, I've had this recurring dream. In the dream, it's an older version of me, and she keeps telling me one thing. She says, "If you meet my husband in your 20th year, please take care of him for me. When I met you, I knew you were that person." I thought again of that lonely figure sitting in the office. I tightened my grip on Willow's right hand. My gaze slowly shifted to the window. Outside there were vast stretches of farmland. Lush green, full of life. We'll meet again, right? I thought. In 20 years, I'll meet Willow again, no longer young. But by then, she'll have long been my wife. We'll grow up together, and then grow old together. We made a promise. This time, no one is allowed to be absent.